Now, the third experience that I actually experienced this morning, this has been one of the most intense experiences that I've felt when it comes to not the vibrations actually, but projecting. So basically, I woke up for a bit. I believe I did some meditating. I believe I listened to some binaural beats, and then I went back to sleep. Now, I went back to sleep. I entered into a dream state, and then during the dream state, I became aware that I was dreaming because I was actually trying to fly in the dream. And then when I was able to fly in the dream, I realized, hey, wait a second, I'm dreaming. I can induce the vibrations if I want to. So when I was flying, I purposely flew into the vibrations, and then they ensued, then they happened. But the interesting thing is that this has been one of the weakest feelings of the vibrations that I've ever felt. But what's interesting is that I ended up in my room. And this time it was brightly lit. It was beautifully lit. And I just immediately got up out of my bed. And I was just excited. I was happy. For some reason, I just knew that I made it. So I got up, and you can't see it right here, but there's a little, let me tilt this. There's a little drawer thing right here. And I got up, and I decided to test that I was in the astral. So I just pushed myself against it, and I felt it right here, and then I felt some resistance. And then I pushed even more, and then I ended up phasing through it. Now, it was actually a very peculiar, very interesting feeling. It was kind of like electricity. It was kind of like a dull electric buzz going throughout my body, like where that thing was. Like when I pushed through it, like as I was moving through it, it just felt like the tingles, like the buzz, like going through me as I moved through it. It was a really cool and interesting sensation. I was really happy to feel that. I was just like, yes, like this is cool. So then I went to the door. There's actually a door right here, like a patio door that looks out across my neighborhood. And then I pushed my face through the blinds, and then I looked outside to look at my neighborhood. Now, I didn't realize this at the time, but again, it's a variance now that I'm awake and conscious. At the time, though, I saw like a beautiful neighborhood, which I assumed to be mine. Well, it was mine, but it had a different layout. So I saw the neighborhood, and then I went back into my room. I retreated back into my room, and then I told myself, you know, I should stay here. I should stay in my room. I shouldn't really go anywhere. I shouldn't travel anywhere. I know that it's best if I just stay here, because in Robert Monroe's books, he said that it's best that when you're first learning this, you should just start with really small baby steps. But I was just way too excited. I was just thinking about all the possibilities. I was like, oh, wow. Like, so my girlfriend actually woke up prior to me getting into the vibrations, and she went downstairs because she actually had to work because she's working from home. A part of me said, hey, like I could go downstairs and check on her. A part of me said, hey, like, there's this guy on Phase Evolution. On his YouTube channel, he talks about grabbing like some pine needles or something, or like he'll grab random things and he'll put it in his mouth. And because it's in the astrals, he'll experience like a very interesting sensation, very interesting like tastes. So I told myself, hey, like maybe I could try eating something. So what I did instead was I just decided to go and just explore. I decided to go to the door outside of my room, which is right over here. This door right here, right next to the bow staff. So I walk to that door and I actually start to feel fear because of one of my experiences recently. Actually, overall, I've been feeling, sometimes I would feel fear when I'd enter the vibrations, not gonna lie. It's like it's still there. I felt fear. I felt fear and I was afraid of what might be on the other side of the door. I actually did try to phase through the door, but for some reason I couldn't. Like I could just push my head to it and I'd push forward, but something was blocking me. I don't know if it was the actual, if there was like a barrier in front of the door or if it was my actual fears preventing me from actually entering the door. So I again, from phase evolution, if you're standing in front of a door and you imagine a certain place, you'll probably most likely end up at that place. For me at that time, again, I was just feeling fear. I started to think about this like scary looking ghost, and I was kind of reluctant, kind of hesitant to open the door to see what was on the other side. But I decided that my curiosity took precedence over my fear. So I decided to slowly open the door just to see what was on the other side. And now this is interesting. I see my hallway. And there's nothing there other than a very transparent cloud. It's kind of like at the end of the hallway, just kind of like where the scary ghost would have been, just a transparent cloud just kind of drifting there. It doesn't look harmful, so I just walk towards it. I just walk past it. And side note here, what's interesting is that, you know, I'll include the side note later. But yes, where the scary ghost would have been is that transparent cloud. So I just walk past the cloud. And that's another variable about that hallway. The hallway was painted completely white, but in my home, I actually have brown walls. So again, in the astrals, I didn't notice that because I'm in an alternate state of consciousness, and sometimes when I see variables, I don't really pick up on it. It's just something I have to learn how to do. So I walk into the house, and this house is similar to my house, but it's not my house. It's a lot bigger. It's almost like a mansion. I see these people there. Right now, I forgot what those people looked like, but for some reason, like I asked them where my sister was. So then they told me that she was, they told me that she was in this certain area. So I went to that certain area, and she was in this hallway-like structure, and she was like kind of folding clothes or messing around with clothes or something or whatever. So I went up to her and I said, this is funny. I was feeling so much excitement at the moment. I was saying, hey, like, I'm Kyle, but I'm not Kyle. I'm actually a part of a different consciousness that has entered this Kyle's body. And now I am talking to you through this body. And she just didn't really pay attention to that. She just kind of like nodded her head. She was kind of indifferent. She just continued doing her thing. So then I asked her, hey, like, where's the front door? How do I get out of this house? And then she pointed my way. She pointed the way out. Now, here's another interesting thing. Another variant. She was actually Caucasian, totally opposite of my race. So I don't know why in that reality she was my sister, but whoever this girl was, she in this reality she was. So yeah, I went out the exit. I found these two this double front door. I went out the door, and right in front of me was the brightly lit, beautiful neighborhood. And I walked down this walkway, these stairs to get to the neighborhood. I look back at the house, and then I see that girl. I see my sister sitting on the roof. Now this is kind of funny because even though she was outside, even though she was enjoying the sun, even though she was just sitting there, I saw that she was wearing a virtual reality headset just to enjoy outside. I guess I don't know what the meaning of that is. So I continued walking into the neighborhood. I saw this person there. He was kind of looking at me, but I didn't really pay attention. I just kind of walked past him into the neighborhood. Now, this is funny. As I was walking down the walkway, I was actually laughing to myself. I was actually like, I have spent way too much time here. I don't even know if I'm going to remember any of this or all of this. I'm definitely going to miss some details. Even if I do remember major bits, there's going to be a lot of it that I am missing. But I'm going to continue this adventure anyways because I'm just way too curious. So I continued. I ended up in this area where a lot more grass started to appear and some water started to appear. It seemed to be like a part of a small lake. And I started to get excited. Like I wanted to jump into the water and just to swim and just enjoy it. But this is where things started to change. Fear started to kick in. Why? Because when I looked closer at the water, even though I was a good distance from it, maybe I was about like 50 feet from it, the water looked like a murky blue, like a murky, gross blue. And I couldn't see that far down into it. And that frightened me because I didn't know what was in the water. To be honest, I do have a little bit of a fear of deep water just because I don't know what's inside of it. So I started to feel fear. I started to feel like I started to feel like uneasy. I started to feel uncomfortable. So I continued forward and I decided not to jump into the water. But as I looked forward, a lot more water started to appear in front of me at the edges of the grass. And in certain parts of the water, I actually started to see like these two things start to swim like closer towards the land, and then they kind of made a bend like and swam away from the land. At first I thought they were some type of like large fish or maybe dolphins, but when I looked closer, I saw that they had like human attributes to it, even though one of the human looking things that kind of had a fin coming out of its back. So in other words, it was slightly creepy looking. So then the fear starts to kick in a little bit more. And then the land around me, starting from the edge that's closest to the water, it starts to disintegrate and fall into the water. And it starts to get closer to my feet. And then I look back up at the water, and then I see this huge, this big, gross looking fish, like this gross looking, it looked very similar to a ichthyosaur. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll just put a picture up here somewhere, maybe here, maybe here. It was like a big like fish dolphin looking thing, just like wriggling its way through the water, kind of like chomping its way through the water, like getting closer to me. And then yeah, like a piece of land like was giving away underneath my feet. So I started to back up. I decided to just turn around and run. Now there was a part of me that knew that in the astrals, whatever you think about, whatever your fears are, start to manifest in front of you. So I saw a tree in front of me. It could have been an oak tree, but it was like a very large tree. And I decided to pour all of my focus into that tree, just so my focus would stray away from the gross looking water and the gross looking fish, dolphin, ichthyosaur thing. So right when I was focusing on the tree, I actually started to lose focus on the whole astral experience in general. Like everything started to fade away. Everything started to fade away into blackness. So I entered into this little void area. And I didn't want the experience to end, even if I was feeling a bit fearful towards the end. I tried my best to hold on to whatever I was experiencing. Now, this is another interesting part. Things start to materialize again. But this time, I'm laying down in my bed. I'm laying down, and I'm in this room. And the room it's a little bit dark, a little bit shadowy. And the room, there seems to be nothing in it. It seems to be empty. There seems to be cement walls. Like everything's just made of cement other than the bed. The bed's just my normal bed. And at the foot of my bed is this man standing there. He's Caucasian. He had blue eyes. And he had a bit of a rounder face. Now, it's funny because he was actually giving me advice. He said something along the lines of like, so when you astral project, blah, 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 blah. Like, he was giving me good advice or whatever advice, and I wasn't able to focus on it. Because to be honest, I didn't expect a man to be standing there at the foot of my bed. And there was a moment when he kept talking, when he went around the bed to go closer to my side. I actually held my hand out just in case he was going to like jump on me or something, just to prevent him from getting closer to me. So in that moment, I kind of let fear get in the way of me actually listening to what he had to say. It could have been valuable like advice. I do hope that my unconscious mind picked up on whatever he said. Maybe I'll be using it next time. So after that, I woke up in my physical body, in my bed. I took off the blindfold, and not gonna lie, I was really happy that I experienced that. So, going back to the side notes after this whole experience, one of the things that I learned the most in this experience was about manifesting things in the astral realm. Now, I've heard about how things will just manifest themselves if you think about it. And in the past, I was afraid that just by thinking about these things, it would manifest instantly like that. It doesn't seem to be the case from this one experience that I had. I don't know. This is just one experience, but maybe this can relate to other future experiences that I will have. When I first exited this room, when I first got into this room, when I exited the door, I feel like that white transparent-ish cloud that I saw was the beginning of the manifestation of the scary ghost that I was thinking about when I was outside of the door. And if I continued to think about that scary ghost outside of my door or whatever, I believe that cloud would have eventually morphed into what I was thinking about. which is interesting yet kind of scary at the same time. And another example of things just manifesting themselves according to my fears and what I think about happened to be with the water. Like when I saw the water, it just triggered me, and I started to feel the fear, and that fear started to grow. And because that fear started to grow, my environment began to change, and I started to see all of those frightening things. It's interesting. My sister came home today, and I didn't know she was home until my mom sent me a text saying, "Your sister's drying your clothes for you." So then I went to the laundry room, and there my sister was, messing around with folding clothes, messing around or holding like a hanger, messing around with stuff in a hallway-ish room, but it was actually the laundry room, which is very similar to what I experienced in the astral realm. It could have something to do with a time jump. Maybe it has nothing to do with anything. Maybe it's just pure coincidence. One of the reasons that people will, in general, experience time jumps whenever they enter the astral realms is because apparently when you leave your physical body and you enter the astral realms, these realms exist out of time-space reality. So you could see things that are about to happen or things that already happened. It just really depends. That's just one of the more popular theories going around lately. So anyways, that is pretty much all of the experiences that I have been going through lately. And I don't really have much of an update at the moment. Let me see, is there anything else that I want to update you with that could be useful to you? The biggest points I've learned in these last three vibrational states is when you enter the vibrations, think of the present moment. Think of your room. Feel your room. Feel good about entering your room when you're in the vibrations. The second thing would be when the vibrations start to subside and it kind of flatlines, but it's still there, get up. Just get up. Even if it feels like your physical body, just get up and verify if it's the astrals or not. The thing is, apparently, that when you're in the astrals, it feels very similar to your physical body, but once you start to move around, you'll start to see that it's actually not your physical body. It's your astral body. I guess the third thing that I've learned would be, this is the thing. This is the thing. One thing that I could have done to improve my experience was, I wish I set an intention. I wish I set intentions for what I was going to do in the astrals once I got into it. Like, I could have, because in my room, I was thinking about all those different things. I was thinking about eating. I was thinking about, like, seeing my girlfriend downstairs. What I wish I would have done actually is, I wish I would have went and saw my uncle. I wish I would have gone and checked up on him to actually talk to him and see how he's doing. But I guess I'll have to do that next time. So yeah, that's it. Focus on the present moment during the vibrations. After the vibrations kind of like even out and fade out, just get up. Even if you think it's your physical body, even if you think you failed, get up to verify. Third, Set an intention for what you want to do in the astrals once you actually get there, so that you don't waste time, because there's very little time that you experience during these moments, I guess, depending on your skill set. So that's all. That's everything for my update. This is Kyle with Explore the Adventure. Thank you for listening in on this experience, and I will update you next time. Peace.